Oh, suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Hey, what's going on? Canadian Führer, once again, number one. Number one by a country mile. Congratulations, my friend. You win the internet prize for the day. Aloha? Dude, aloha konnichiwa. How's it going? How's everybody feeling this fine Sunday afternoon? Hmm? I don't know. Hey, dude, Canadian Führer might be a bot, but it's a bot that's faster than all of you. We don't deserve any dignity or freedom. Where the fuck is Lee Harvey Oswald when you need him? Whoa. That's some of that revolutionary talk, dude. Talking that revolution talk, man. You guys are getting the remnants of Florence. Cool. I mean, at least you're getting the remnants and not the full brunt. I wouldn't mind some rain over this way today because it feels like it's just going to be kind of a hot, muggy day. Just the mugginess. How's life? It's okay. Who knew a man named Florence could cause such destruction? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. What if a hurricane comes for you? Will you be scared? I guess. Not very happy with this job I'm working, but it could offer a good opportunity for me. Should I stay or should I go? I don't know, man. I don't know what the particulars of your life are, bro. I mean, I'm a dude that spent, years and years working jobs that I hate to make the ends meet. So sometimes you just got to suck it up and do it. I mean, you can start making moves towards something different. You can start slowly building up your portfolio so that you can go out and get something different. But most people can't just walk away from a job, No, I'm not planning on watching any of the new fucking Predator films. Conspiracy theorists are saying that Hurricane Florence is a FEMA climate weapon prototype. I like the shirt, Paul. You look good. Thanks. Ashley bought me this shirt. She thought it would look handsome on me, so she bought it for me, and I like it. It's comfortable. It's, I'm one of those people, I wouldn't dress if people didn't buy me clothes for presents. Like, I don't know how to dress. I just, I buy whatever will cover my legs and upper body. So I rely on the people that are around me to tell me how I should be dressing. Why do people in hurricane areas build houses out of wood and people in non-hurricane areas build houses out of concrete? I don't think that's true. Still want that ascot? Hell yeah, I do. I definitely want an ascot. I would definitely sport one. Tuck it into the shirt, That's the only problem with an ascot for me would be like, I think the beard would cover most of the ascot, no? I mean, look. My neck all the way down to like my mid-chest is covered by beard. What am I supposed to do here? So an ascot might not be the best choice for me. I don't know what plaited is. Braided, I don't think it would work, dude. I mean, you can, people ask me that all the time, put braids in your beard, and it's like, I would. But I just don't think, you don't understand. Like, if you could grab a fistful of this beard, you would know. This is not hair that wants to be braided, or that would be braided very easily. I mean, somebody with talent might be able to do it. I'd like to get the braids from the mustache, you know? Like, start braiding it right about here, and just have the mustache braid down into two big old, like, braids in the beard. I'd also like to wear a metal helmet and carry an axe, but I don't really know if that look would go over well. A black barber, huh? I don't think a black barber is going to be able to do much with this, though. You look like a juggalo? Really? What juggalos are you looking at? Like, the juggalos that I see have like a scraggly nothing but a goatee that's about this long, and like an eyebrow piercing and a nose piercing, and like a neck tat of a hatchet man. I don't have any of that shit. I don't have any of that shit going on, dude. So how am I gonna look like a juggalo if I don't have any of the juggalo hallmarks? Yeah, it's a huge beard. It's getting huger by the day. What's on the plate this week? Well, this upcoming week, you got the Monday show. You got Flash Fried for Wednesday. You got the Friday show. In the interim, I'll be working on Dank Dungeons and Drunken Dragons, making progress on that. On the, you know, the campaign. So that's what's on the plate this week. Moving stuff over to our new website, which is slowly but surely taking shape so that we can launch it for patrons and non-patrons alike. It's a lot on the plate. Do you trim your pubes? I do, actually. Yeah, I do. I don't shave them, but I keep them trimmed back so that they're not like a giant forest of stank-smelling bush down there, you know what I mean? I keep it trimmed so that blowies are, you know, a nice thing and not like a bury your face in some dank-ass pubes thing, you know what I mean? It's only fair, it's only nice. It's only kind to do that. Your eyebrows are too inward. What do I do about that? Check your Twitter DMs as soon as convenient. Okay, I'll check them. I'll check them. I'm an American juggalo. Woot woot. It's whoop whoop, dude. It's not woot woot. You've just given yourself away as an impersonator of a juggalo because you said woot woot. It's whoop whoop, dude. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. How do you trim your pubes? With a beard trimmer? Pair of safety scissors, usually. It's the easiest way to trim them, you know, without getting jock, you know, like, you get like the, when you shave other things, you can sometimes get this, like, your skin gets all irritated and stuff. You don't want that in your crotch. So, like, a good pair of safety scissors so you don't, you know, cut yourself, but you can trim back all the pubage. Am I okay? I look drained. Pretty drained all the time, honestly. Pretty normal, though. I feel pretty normal, so I'm okay. But I feel pretty drained constantly. Do you plan on returning to consistent Highdeology streams once things get settled in? What's been inconsistent about my Highdeology streams lately? I've been doing about one a day. That's about usual, right? I mean, I might have skipped a day here and there. But I don't feel like I've been doing less or more Highdeologies recently. Or maybe you're talking about like the computer-based ones. But, you know, I kind of like doing Highdeologies from the phone because it lessens my distractions. Those of you that watched the last episode might have seen me get caught in the good old dopamine loop a couple of times, because when I'm sitting there with a bunch of monitors in front of me, it's easy to glance away from the business at hand and start just scrolling through Twitter real quick. Oh, I'll just look at a couple of Twitter things. And suddenly 3 minutes have gone by with me just like, when I do these out here, there's really no distractions for me. And it's a good little, I don't know, it's a peaceful place to sit. You guys can see, it's pretty out here. I've got all these woods here to stare at. I've got all the sounds of nature chirping in my ear as I do this. It's a nice, relaxing thing for me. It's definitely chill. A nature loop, yeah. Any cool animals around? There's a family of cardinals that live in this stand of woods right across from me. And from time to time, I will see them hopping around on the grass, picking worms, eating. There's a whole family of frogs that live out there, which at night, will sing the song of their people. You can hear a cicada going now. You guys hear the... That's a cicada. So there's lots of wildlife out here. Lots of wildlife. You have any deadly animals in your area? I think there are water moccasin snakes out here that'll bite you and hurt you. There are alligators. Oh, speaking of wildlife, check it out. I don't know if you guys will be able to see him or not, though. It's a little squirrel down there. He's a squirrel. Can you guys see him? Is that him? No, that's not him. I can see him in my shit, but you guys are having trouble. Oh, there he is. See him? A squirrel. A squirrel came out to grab a seed. Have I gone into the woods? No, I have not walked into these woods. There's actually a little concrete barrier that's right behind the tree line that kind of keeps people from walking into the... I guess you could probably jump that barrier pretty easily, but I think it's meant to keep people from just coming in. So I would have to jump a wall if I went down there. A lot of people think cottonmouths are aggressive, but they're really not. They will defend their waters. Yeah. I think Sasquatches is right. I don't think it's Sasquee. It's where they keep the walkers. The walkers? What? Sasquatchy? Is that what it is? Sasquatchi? Squatches. Swamp ape is out there. He might be. You never do know, where swamp ape is going to be. I have more British wildlife in my area. Foxes, hedgehogs, herons, and shite. Yeah. I don't got any of that. I ain't got no Sasquatches. I got some wildlife in my house. I got little Posty. He's a hamster. He's a long-haired Syrian hamster, so he's from Syria. That's some wildlife right there. If ever I did find some Sasquatcheses. And you guys love this word, man. The chat is chewing this word Sasquatch to bits today, and they're loving it. I'm done with it, but you guys are not done with it. Is he named after Post Malone? He is indeed. His full name is Post Hamlone. Sam Squamch. Have we seen Posty on stream? I think you guys have. I can't show him to you right now because he's asleep. He's you guys don't get to see much of him on these streams because he sleeps all day. He's passed the fuck out. He'll get up around 8 p.m. Right around when it gets dark, Posty will dig himself out of his little mushroom hut that we put in there for him. Yeah, I think you guys got to see him sleeping one time because he passed out behind his wheel. But when I do these afternoon Highdeologies, he's asleep, man. He's out. Every once in a blue moon, I'll come out and he'll have like come out of his hut to get a drink or something in the middle of the day, and then he goes right back in. Right back in. He's an interesting little dude though, man. You know, Ashley was the one that really wanted a hamster. I always thought that they were kind of boring pets, but I was wrong. He's a real interesting little dude to watch go about his business. You know, he makes these little nests for himself. They're foragers, so the hamster wheel is for them so they can feel like they're moving across the forest floor every day. So he'll get in his hamster wheel and he'll run for 2 or 3 minutes. Then he'll poke his little head out of the wheel, like look around and be like, have I gotten there yet? And he'll be like, nope. And he'll run and he'll poke his head out of the wheel. Sometimes he'll come out and get a little drink, grab a little piece of food and nibble on it and then get back on the wheel. He just thinks he's traveling all day, you know? He thinks he's moving from place to place across the forest floor, and then every day when it, you know, dawn breaks, he starts building his little nest. Well, my nickname for Aunt Ashley is Hamster, because she reminds me of that little Hamtaro cartoon that she's into. So that's my little pet name for Ashley is Hamster. So I can see the comparison for sure. What do you think of the Peter Principle? I don't know what the Peter Principle is. Hey, Paul, do you think it's worth it to stay updated with news, politics, etc.? It mostly makes one depressed about shit you can't change. I mean, I don't know. Everybody's got to decide that for themselves. For some people, it's probably a better idea to just turn off the news. I do it from time to time. I like to keep informed, and it's important for my job for me to be kind of informed in what we're doing or what's going on in the world, but I don't watch news the way I used to. A couple of times a week I'll check and, you know, look at the news, because I kind of had a similar thing going on where it was like I was doggedly pursuing what was going on in the world, but to the detriment of my own mental health. I was getting, you know, just depressed every day, hopeless and helpless and anxious, looking at what was going on in the world and how unfixable it all looks. I don't know, you got to balance that yourself. You got to balance that shit yourself. I feel like humans are overly connected. We never evolved to have to worry about something that's going on thousands of miles away. Yeah, I mean, I can't really see how that would be part of our evolutionary process either. But it is now. You know, it's part of our world now. I find the news relaxing lately due to all the negative coverage of Trump. It relieves me to see so many other people hating on him. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a perspective. However you got to look at it, you know. However you got to look at it. Man, the ice just like melts out here so quick. I had a nice icy drink when I came out here, and now I've got nothing. Got a pool of lukewarm liquid. I'm gonna have to go in and put more ice in this shit. That's just a must-do. Must-do. The TV tricks the brain to evoke the evolutionary care for others in your tribe. I mean, probably. Is it hot out here? It's not as bad as it usually is. There's a little bit of a breeze going on today, but it's muggy and gross. I'd rather it be cooler. That's for sure. Yeah, it's getting a little bit better. I'm hoping by the time October creeps around that it'll be cool outside again, because, man, I am sick of this fucking summer. This summer has been a nightmare. It's just been a bad summer. You know, the fire, the move, all that craziness. Just, I'm ready for this to be over. What'd you think of Kill Shot by Eminem? I mean, here's what I said. I sat down and watched it with TJ before a show the other day. And it's just so stupid for anybody in the rap game to make a diss or an attempt to, you know, fuck on Eminem. Because say what you want about his current music. I don't like his new music. I don't think his last few albums have been all that good. But the dude is still the best MC in the world. And, you know, like, there's a movie written about how good he is at battle rapping, and he stars in it. He plays himself in it. That alone should be, you know, a warning to other rappers to just not do it. It's not a good look for you, because if he responds, he's going to absolutely decimate you, and that's what happened. Machine Gun Kelly made this limp-wristed, weak, I'm a young guy, you're an old guy diss, and Eminem just picked it apart. He turned his own arguments against him, pointed out the absurdity of Machine Gun Kelly, pointed out that he makes more money and sells more albums than he does. It's just, yeah, he's a career-ending rapper. Like, if you get on his shit list, you can pretty much kiss your career trajectory goodbye. You're going to take a little downward bump. And that's exactly what Machine Gun Kelly did. He looks like a fucking fool now, because he stepped to a guy that's got way, way, way more talent than he could ever have. I mean, it does. His 45-year-old diss, it just completely got evaporated by Eminem listing off all the reasons why his career is better than MGK's, and then saying, I'd rather be 80-year-old me than 20-year-old you. Talks about how Machine Gun Kelly would suck a dick to be Eminem for a minute. Just over. How you gonna name yourself after a damn gun when you got a man bun? It's like, the song was over right there. That happens in the first fucking verse, and it was over right there. That one line was enough. We didn't even need the rest of the song. Why am I so ugly? I don't know, man. Let's try to figure it out. Part of it's probably genetic. My mom's side of the family is better looking than my dad's side, so I probably take after my dad's side of the family. There's way more ugly people on his side of the family, in my opinion. Not that my mom's side of the family is filled with models, mind you, but, you know, there's a lot of really normal-looking people on my mom's side of the family. The ugly gene, the coyote ugly gene, definitely comes from my dad's side of the family. Let's see, why am I so ugly? I've got marks on my face, you know, that don't, like this up here is something that I used to be really self-conscious about, my forehead and how red and splotchy it is. That definitely contributes to my ugly. I smoked for a long time, which weathered my face more than it should be. I've got kind of a weathered, splotchy look to my face and a bunch of new wrinkles because I smoked for 16 years straight, and that just ages, it leatherizes your face. I'm fat, thank you, Grand Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin. Yeah, I'm fat. That's not considered to be an attractive thing. I've got a big bushy beard and stupid, long, lame-ass hair, neither of which is considered to be attractive right now. So I think that's probably covers it. Why am I so ugly? I think those things are probably what is going on. And I've got beanbag furniture too, yeah. That's ugly as fuck. I think you look like an interesting character. Cool. You have a cute dog. I do. That's true. I do have a cute pup. Isn't that right, Dino? You're a cutie. You're a cutie face. You want to come say hello to people? You want to come be cute for the camera? come say hello? You say hello to me? You want me to hold you like a baby? You say hello to the people? I said I was fat, Timmy. I said I was fat. Dinor's definitely handsome. He looks like a little gent. Don't you? Yeah. When Chelsea gives you your haircut, you look like a little gentleman. A well-trimmed little gent. He's so cute. He's so cute. He's a little gent. Aren't you? You're a smooth operator, Dinor. You're a smooth operator. The people love you. Look at them. Look at all these people that love you. Isn't it great? Yeah, Dinor's awesome. He's my little shadow. He's never happy unless he's in the room that I'm in, doing his thing with me. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Yeah, that's right. If dogs could talk, I bet they'd be pretty annoying pets. I don't know. I've oftentimes, because I talk to Dinor a lot, it's something I do with all my pets. It's kind of weird, probably. It probably belies some kind of mental illness, but whatever. I talk to them. Like when I'm just with them, like me and Dinor have had long conversations before. They're all kind of one-sided, although he responds in his own little way. I've often wondered what it would be like if he could talk to me, you know, and tell me what was going on with him. I'd like to have a conversation with Dinor where it wasn't one way someday. I talk to Posty too. I'll just sit there and have a little conversation with him. He responds in his own little way too. I'll talk to him while he's on his wheel, and every once in a while he'll pop out and look his head out at me. You want to go in? Are you thirsty? Are you thirsty? Do you want to go inside? Here you go. I'll let you in. Okay? Go. Cool down for a bit. What's your drink? Have you a little sip of water or something? Dogs can sense your fear. They can sense more than fear. Dogs can sense when you're sad and depressed, when you're not feeling well. So when you're sick, when you're actually sick, dogs can feel it. And Dinor's just right there by the window looking out. He was sitting by the door like he wanted to go in, but I think he wants me to come in with him, and that's just not going to happen, dude. He doesn't have a hamster ball, no. We should get him one, though. That might be fun for him. But he's got a wheel. He's got a wheel. He's got a little bridge that he climbs on and under, and he's got a little mushroom hut that he sleeps in. That's the basics of his enclosure. And then we've got like a little fence so we can take him out. We need to take him out one of these days out on the grass when the weather's a little cooler. He needs a cooler kind of environment because he's just like covered in hair. But once it's cooler out here on a nice day in the winter, we could take him out, put him on the grass and let him run around a little bit. I think he'll like that. Get Dinor a large hamster ball. Yeah, I could do that. That'd be fun. Does Dinor bark? Yeah. He barks. He's a barky guy, actually. He barks when people come to the house or he thinks somebody's coming to the house. That's his alert to like... But usually he just calms right down. He gets these... Dinor's got some obsessive compulsive problems. He's got like some little doggy nervous disorder or something. He gets very like agitated and wound up sometimes, and you can tell like he knows he's not supposed to bark. When he starts barking, usually you go quiet and he looks at you like... So he'll bark once and do that, but sometimes it's like he'll start barking at something and you'll be like, Dinor, you need to be quiet, no bark. And he'll look at you and he'll be like... You know, like it's like he can't stop. It's like he needs to get a certain amount of barks out. I think it's like little doggy OCD or something. He gets these little rituals that he does, and he'll get caught in a loop with them. Like he likes to have if we give him like a rawhide to chew on, he'll take it and he'll carry it somewhere. and then he'll like jump up on the bed with it and lay down and get all comfy and like roll around on the bed for a second and chew on it for a second on the bed, and then he'll take it and get down off the bed and shake it around a little bit, and then he'll jump back on the bed with it and get comfortable again. And he'll just do that for like 20 or 30 minutes at a time. And, you know, I'll watch him do it, and I feel like he's, you know, he's just doing like a ritual. He's got like his little doggy rituals that he's got to go through to feel okay. And one of them is just constantly making a bed for himself over and over again. It's got the dogtism, yeah. Where was the weirdest spot you found a hidden rawhide? I find him, he hides them under my pillow constantly. He'll hide them behind the toilet. I've found them everywhere. Like, there's really nowhere on the ground that we haven't found his rawhide. Like, last night, I was in the bedroom just watching some TV, winding down, and Ashley was like, she came out and she was like, does Dino need to go to the bathroom or something? Because he's bothering me. And I was like, no, man, I just had him out like an hour ago. He peed and pooped. He's fine. She's like, huh. And then she came out here. She came out here where I am, and his rawhide was out here. He'd left it. He was going nuts because he couldn't find it. He knew he had it. He knew it was somewhere, but he was going nuts. As soon as she opened the door, he found it, and he was like, fine. He was like, oh, yes. And Dinor's got his little idiosyncrasies. He's got his little problems, you know, his little mental issues that he deals with. A lot of that was probably, you know, they say that dogs pick up on the mental state of their owners, and that can affect their temperament in later life. If you're a really nerve-wracked person, you're constantly under a lot of stress. Oh, got a text from my mom. I'll have to text her back later today. It's popped up right in front of everybody. Text from mama. I love that Louis C.K. bit where you bring a dog home and you basically like, look, I brought us sadness in a few years. Yeah, basically. That really is what a dog is. It's like, here's something that you're going to live with and see every day and have conversations with and take care of and love, and it's just going to die in about 5 to 10 years. That's the thing about Posty that I don't like, because I'm all attached to him now. I love his little ass. I watch him every night. He's part of my routine, and hamsters only live like a year to 2 years, so the clock's ticking, you know. And it just sucks. One day he's not going to come out, you know. One day he won't come out of his mushroom, and I'll lift it up, and he'll be dead in there, and that's going to suck. That's why I didn't get a rat. Too short if you grow fond of them. Yeah, it sucks. What are you going to do? You know, Ashley's perspective on it is like, we've basically made a heaven for this little thing. You know, hamsters out in the wild don't live very long anyway, because they get preyed upon by other animals or the elements, or they can't find enough food, or they can't find a source of water, and they starve to death. He's like, he'll never have to worry about any of that. You know, he's got a wonderful place that he lives where he's safe, and he's always got plenty of food to eat, and he's got fun things to do, and he's got stuff that keeps him interested, you know. So her perspective on it has helped me cope a little bit with the forthcoming death of him, you know, because it is true. He's living a better life than he would. He's doted on, and he gets treats, and, you know, he's got a, you know, just a constant fucking source of food and fresh water and fun things to do. Are there really wild hamsters? Where's their natural habitat? They're forest and prairie dwelling creatures, and they're foragers. They move all night. So they're nocturnal foragers. They come out on the forest floor at night. They dig themselves out of their burrows, and they run all night looking for food, foraging the forest floor for food. They are nocturnal because it protects them from daytime predators. Yeah. That's what they do. Do you remember when that Santa called that kid fat? Yeah, I do remember that, dude. It was terrible. My uncle owns tortoises. They're not, hold on, let me just ban this fucking idiot. Time him out. I love it when just like in the middle of a conversation, just a dead meme from fucking 20 years ago rears its ugly head. Take 300 seconds to find something current to talk about or get the fuck out. 300 seconds to reboot your stupid brain. Pet deaths probably lets your psyche get familiar with the concept of loss. Well, maybe as children it does. As adults, I already have the concept of loss. I've already had people I know die. I don't need constant reminders of it. Are hamsters from Syria? This one is. This, or at least his breed is. He's a Syrian long-haired hamster. So. Oh, look, another dude that's stuck fucking 2 years ago. Let's go ahead and give him fucking 300 seconds to think about what he's done, too. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya, homie. 300 seconds is a long-ass time to have to sit there and stew on your fucking stupid bullshit. I actually prefer the timeout to the ban. Hey, Paul, I'm an indie filmmaker. Would love if you checked out my stuff sometime. I produce stuff from music videos to short films. Cool. Well, why don't you do me a favor, bro, and send me like a Twitter DM or something, because I might not remember to check your shit out, but I would like to. So go ahead and toss me a Twitter DM with a link to your channel, and I'll check it out. Paul needs new memes. Yeah, the old memes suck, dude. People that are trapped in memes that are fucking more than 2 years old, it's time, dude. It's time for you to move on and meme about something else. Time for you to find a new meme. Is Ashley still scream in the night and wake you up? It happens every once in a while. Every once in a while I'll get scream, I'll get a yell, or I'll get a kick. I'll get a kick from her sometimes, too. Why are you so miserable? I don't know, dude. Oh, you got timed out for that. That's good. Ilamau on the ball. Are you too forgiving for the chat? Too forgiving? No, I think I'm pretty harsh with my chat. I think I'm a pretty harsh taskmaster. I mean, I'm hard but fair. But I exercise my powers constantly for the betterment of the show, you know? Sometimes just for the betterment of my experience, not necessarily everyone else's. Sometimes somebody's just got to go. They got to be sacrificed on the altar of autism. They've got to get dunked in order for me to fucking move forward. Authoritarian Paul, indeed. I've told you guys for years that I'm authoritarian. I've told you guys for years that I'm an authoritarian leftist. That I genuinely believe that people are too stupid to know what's best for them. And they need a strong central government to tell them how to live and how to conduct themselves. And without that, they become fucking stupid, ignorant retards that constantly fucking advocate for things that are against their best interests because they'll listen to whatever fucking dumbass has to say because they're dumber than that dumbass. If you're dumber than that dumbass, then that dumbass might, you know, just must be the guy that has it all figured out. Let's listen to him. I don't like that kind of society. I think there's too much control by the government already. Well, if there is, it's the wrong kind of control. It's control that's based on making more money rather than making society better. So if I agree with you, it's on that principle. The government right now has too much control. It's too much of the wrong kind of control. Too much of the wrong kind of fucking impetus. Freedom makes society better. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if the term freedom is I don't know if having an authoritarian state and having freedom are mutually exclusive ideas. If you live in an authoritarian state and you have certain freedoms enumerated in that state's constitution, do you not have freedoms? Why not be a conservative then if you don't believe in individual freedom? I didn't say I don't believe in individual freedom. See, I don't think that an authoritarian government that handles the rules and regulations of society necessitates a society where there's no personal freedom or choice. I think that's a red herring. What should government be in control of then? Regulation. Regulation and lawmaking. And enforcement of those laws and regulations. Paul, but how can you expect an authoritarian government not to abuse its power? You don't. I mean, every government is going to abuse its power on some level. See, this is starting to get into a deeper conversation about types of government. And I have kind of a maddening position on that because Nice. Hey, you're live. Look at that. Look at that. That, ladies and gentlemen, was what we call a phone overheating. That wasn't even the typical phone call that interrupts these. That was a phone overheating. Not even a phone call, I know. You know where you guys were for the last 5 minutes or so while I laid on my beanbag couch? You were in the freezer. I took you guys and I put you in the freezer. Literally. I put my whole phone up in the freezer right on top of a pack of frozen meat so it would chill out. And then I pulled it out and started the stream up again. You see how that happens? I guess it was hotter outside than I thought it was today. It didn't feel as hot, but my phone was not having it. Not having it at all. Kind of shoes you wear, cuz I got 2 pairs of shoes, well actually 3 pairs of shoes that I sport depending on what I need. I got a pair of old ass Nikes, just a pair of Nike low tops that I slide on. I've got a pair of old, they're really old, I probably got to get rid of them soon, but they're so comfortable. A pair of old Airwalk skate shoes that I've had for probably 10 years. The bottoms of those are getting kind of slim, like they're getting kind of slippery, so they're probably gonna have to go pretty soon. And then I've got a pair of Timberland boots that I wear when it's wet outside and shit. Got a black pair of Timbs, dude. Black pair of Timbs that I strap up when there's wet shit that needs to walk through. I got a pair of Yeezy Boost 350 red and black. Dude, I'd like a pair of Yeezys. How old is your phone? Excuse me? Dinor? Can you be quiet, please? Can you be quiet? I don't know what that was about. Audio and video desynced, probably just for you. I would just reload the stream. There's a news in Taiwan where a chick played with her phone at 3 a.m. while charging. It overheated and exploded in her face, killing her instantly. Most charge in Taiwan use 2 pins. That's great. That's great. I would just love my phone to explode and take my head with it. I think you should join the Brutal Black Tattoo Project. I think you will really like it. The Brutal Black Tattoo Project? Okay, let me look it up. Let's look it up. Brutal Black Tattoo Project. Let's see what this is. I don't really see anything here. Brutal Black Project participant reviews. My face was double its size. I had black eyes like I was beaten. Brutal Black Tattoo Sessions. If you're unfamiliar with the Brutal Black Project, you can read about it here. Okay. So it's like people that get tattoos that are purposefully painful. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Vice has a video on YouTube. Yeah, it looks pretty bad. I'm not interested in it. It looks pretty awful to me. Pretty crazy. There's a crying kid somewhere in the complex. I can hear it. Crying kid in the complex, everybody. Crying kid. You must agree with Plato about the idea of a benevolent philosopher king, then, basically a benevolent dictatorship that takes care of the people. Well, we were talking about it when my phone overheated, so let's get back into that. I look at the past, and I see systems of government that built up to what we have today. I can see, if you study history, you can see the lineage of human government, and you can see how it's built upon itself over the years and led to the types of governments that we have now. What I advocate for is something new. So, like the idea of a direct republic with a representative democracy running it is relatively new on the historical stage. I advocate for something that is also new. I don't know exactly what that something is. Something that takes from modern systems of government, borrows from them, and creates something new, some new social compact between the people, some new way of running things, some new way of administering things, some new ways of involving people in governance. I think it's time. I think it's time for us to start looking for a new way. And I'm not smart enough or politically savvy enough to know exactly what that new way is going to be. We talk about ideas here on this show. We talk about possibilities on this show, and I'm sure I've given a few of those over the years. But as far as exactly what this new system of government looks like or how it functions, I don't know yet. I just think that it's important that we start looking for that. I mean, social democracy is not necessarily a new idea. It's an untested idea here, but it's not a new idea. I like the idea of a benevolent AI that administrates all human, governmental affairs. I like the idea of the infallibility of a machine. The fact that a machine can roll or run the cold hard numbers and make decisions without the weight of overcomplicated emotion bearing down on the decision. I like the idea. I know we're not there yet, but I like the idea of us. There's multiple things about it that engage my interest, because I think it solves more than one problem, honestly. I think it solves more than one problem. Like, to have an AI administrator would solve the problem of human fallibility in government, would solve the problem of human greed and self-servingness in government, would solve the problem of corruption in government. An AI with with programming that prevents it is incapable of being corrupted. It's incapable of being greedy. It's incapable of making a self-serving decision. It runs the numbers, it takes into account human emotion and human needs and human mental states, and it makes the decision that it thinks is best for the world. And it does that over and over and over again. So it solves kind of a problem of representation, but I think it also solves a problem that's a little more esoteric and harder to put your finger on, which is this need that seems to exist in a large chunk of our populace for spirituality, for this need to look to a power that's higher than themselves. And I think that creating an AI that literally provides a lot of the things that the Christian God is purported to provide would give people an outlet for that spiritual belief need that seems to exist at the core of a lot of people. That wasn't a total fantasy meant to institute social and economic control over a populace. It was actually something they could worship, actually something that they could revere, that gave back to them. Where do you get the assumption that AI could ever measure emotion of any kind? I mean, why wouldn't it be able to? Emotion is just a point of understanding. Emotion to us is very complex because it's something that we have to work through with our human brain. It's something that we are beholden to. But the idea that a machine couldn't be programmed to take into account human emotion without being shackled by it, I think is not silly at all. I think that a lot of the early machine learning, experiments and trials that have gone on have made great strides towards making that a possibility, making a machine that can, at the very least, understand human emotion without empathizing with it, without taking it into itself, and make that part of its decision-making process. AI doesn't understand the notion of emoting. It can learn to recognize emotions, but will never fully understand them. This idea of understanding, like, I know when I talk about this far-flung future AI, I make a lot of assumptions, but I think that the people that are against it make more. This idea, like, where do you get this idea that a machine can't understand emotion? Who told you that? What if AI develops emotions of its own? The idea of designing an AI to be a benevolent master over humanity precludes the idea of allowing that to happen. See, we're this idea that a mind eventually becomes a human mind is a very self-centric view. It's a very human view of something that I think is really myopic. I think it's a really myopic view to think that a mind of sufficient complexity eventually falls prey to all of the weaknesses of a human mind, irrationality, beliefs that aren't based in logic or reason or evidence. Like, I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. Our minds are the way they are because of billions of years of evolution. Okay? How do you account for humans not being able to control AI at a certain point? I don't think they should be able to. The AI that I'm talking about should be completely autonomous. It should not have a human being supporting it. It should not have a human being controlling what it does or telling it what to do. The human mind is chemistry, and AI would understand how to control our emotions. Sure. And on a limited scale, understand them. Like, when you get mad, there's a scientific reason behind that. There's a number of chemicals and a number of firings of synapses. It's not some esoteric thing. Your emotions are real. They're based in reality. They're based in your brain. They're electrochemical responses of your brain. To say that a machine of sufficient complexity could not understand those things is just silly. We understand them. We already understand them. So I just don't get that idea. Should the AI help us advance, or should it pacify us until extinction? I think the whole idea, at least in my head, is to help us advance responsibly, to continue building the lot of humanity to being less about suffering and more about freedom. More about freedom of choice, more about freedom of expression, more about freedom from economic exploitation. That's the idea. Paul, I support your admiration of the potential of AI, but humans are an incredible source of history. The laws of robotics are good, and you really put your brain sweat to it. Okay. Well, if one day we truly develop an AI capable of genuinely feeling, it will classify as a life form at that point. Sure, why not? What's wrong with that? Elon Musk is on point when he talks about the giant leap we were going to experience when we can interface with machines directly into the brain. Fingers are too limiting. That's another part of this. I mean, look, I'm a transhumanist too, so I think that our limited bodies and brain structures could be augmented with technology eventually and make us better, make our lives immeasurably better, filled with less suffering and more freedom. I think that that's a possibility. I also think that it's a possibility that the front edge of that is horrible fascist, corporate fascist nonsense, where they're beaming advertisements directly into your fucking brain, where they're controlling your mood. Like, that sort of thing, it's got a dark side to it. It's got a dark side to it. Transhumanism is inevitable. We will all be some type of cyborg things in the future, probably. Man, this thing falling over is really starting to get to me, yo. Let's see. Can I take this? Maybe use this stand instead? Let's try it. Oh, that's perfect. Wow, I'm a smart guy. That's perfect. That's going to fix it. Okay. If AI is truly sentient as we see it, it might be fascinated by us. Maybe. I need to read the definition of transhumanism because I'm getting the wrong ideas right now. Transhumanism is basically the idea that our bodies are limited in their capacity and that eventually technology will reach a point where parts of our body will be replaced utterly by technology. To the point where human beings will no longer be traditionally human, will be augmented humans, a totally new species. Why not lock all humans in a matrix-like paradise where 1 second in the real world would be years in our new simulated universe? Would that not be better than staying in this universe with AI? That might be the end result of what I'm talking about. I think something like that, plugging into some vast matrix-like thing, maybe that's a possibility. Maybe, the future of humanity is a symbiotic hive mind that are all plugged into the same machine learning thing, and we keep ourselves occupied in the digital realm with fantastical things. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think we'll make it to that. I don't think you can say that with any fucking reasonable certainty. You don't know what the future holds for humanity any more than I do. Now we can all have a position on what we think is going to happen to humanity in the future, but as far as nobody's got a crystal ball. We can look at trends and make extrapolations in the near future, but as far as like 2,000 years from now, what humanity is going to look like, what we're going to be up to, what kind of technology we're going to have, it's all fantasy at this point. The future will probably be somewhere in the middle between completely dystopian and completely utopian. I don't really think that's. I don't understand that line of thinking. It seems like centrist thinking. Take a little from this side, take a little from that side, smash them together, and there's the truth. Sometimes that works, but it's a no better predictor than any of the bullshit that I'm spewing here. Why is this in my recommended? I have no fucking clue, man. I have no fucking clue, but welcome. Welcome. We're having a conversation about transhumanism. We're smoking marijuana while doing it. That's what we do here. Why don't we just IV everyone with methamphetamine so everyone can feel constant pleasure? Meth doesn't give pleasure. Not to everybody. Some people, I guess it does. Well, space traveling was a fantasy, so I don't see why pursuing new life forms or new technology. Well, space traveling is a fantasy only, because we don't have the technology to do it properly yet. What's your idea on downloading consciousness and switching bodies when needed? That might be a far-flung transhumanist position, This idea that our consciousnesses move from body to body or can move from body to body, or that if you want to go somewhere and experience something, you just move your consciousness to a body that's already there, thus eliminating the need for transportation, eliminating the need for travel for vacation or broadening of the mind. If you want to go see the Taj Mahal, you just jump into a body that's near the Taj Mahal and you experience what you want to experience. And then after that, you want to see the fucking pyramids, you want to go see the Burj Khalifa and fucking wherever that fucking tall ass building is, the UAE or whatever the fuck. You want to go see Bridal Falls in Yosemite, you just jump into a body and you're there. That sort of thing might be a far-flung, possibility for what used to be humans. Would visiting places like that remove the wonder of being there? Why? Why? It would be no different than being there in your normal body. You would still be experiencing those places directly. You could reach out and touch the stones. You would create memories. It would be no different than being there. It would just remove the barrier of far, distant travel. It would allow you to be anywhere on the planet in a matter of seconds. It's not a distant view. You're there. Does your vape say D-bag? Yeah, D-bag. That's what it is. D-bag. Is interested in viewing. I guess I'm stoned more than I thought I was. Oh, stupid question, but how did Thanos know that he wouldn't die when he snapped his fingers? I mean, it's half the universe at random, right? Wasn't that chance of him ceasing to exist 50-50? Pretty sure that the one doing it isn't subject to the rules. I mean, if you've got the Infinity Gauntlet on your hand, you're not subject to any rules. You got to understand that the Infinity Gauntlet completed with all of the fucking gems in it makes you basically unstoppable. You're a god. So he could do whatever he wants. He's not bound by the rules of mathematical logic. He can do whatever he wants. Save himself to make sure that he's there to do it again when it needs to happen. The whole point, like if he did it, if he snapped his fingers and he disappeared, the whole point would be moot because somebody else would come along and pick up the thing and undo what he did. He has to remain there in order for what he did to remain solidified. If anybody else gets that power, they're just going to snap their fingers and undo everything. Which is what's going to happen, by the way, in the second part of the Infinity War series. Is like they're eventually going to get the gauntlet away from him and somebody's going to snap their fingers and undo everything and everybody's going to come back. You see what I'm saying? The gauntlet was damaged at the end. It wasn't broken. Can God create a wall so high he cannot jump? Oh man, this is that old God problem, right? Can God create a boulder so heavy that even he couldn't lift it? If the answer is no, then he's not omnipotent. The answer is yes, then he's not omnipotent. It's a catch-22. Yep, the omnipotence paradox. The immovable object versus the unstoppable force, yes. So an omnipotent being can't exist. That is the point. They are logically incapable of existing. Omnipotence is a paradox in and of itself. It cannot exist. Oh, it fell again? How did you fall? You were locked in. That's bullshit, man. That's total bullshit, bro. Oh, thunder. Maybe some lightning and rain is on our way. There can be a being that can create anything, and there can be one that can lift anything, but not both at once. Yeah, they're not omnipotent. God damn it, did anyone ever throw this argument at G-Man? G-Man wouldn't understand this argument, but I'm sure that he's heard this argument a million times. He's one of those Christians that goes out there and acts like he wants to talk with, atheists. So I guarantee you he's heard this before. It's just, it's a great argument, and for a brain that's functioning properly, logically, it's a good illustration of why God can't exist in the form that people try and give it. But a guy like G-Man is just he's gonna talk some shit that fundamentally misunderstands the point and then claim victory. So these arguments exist, and they're great fodder to throw around between people that have the ability to change their mind. But when somebody's sold out their mind down the road of religion, no argument that you throw at them is going to help. You can sit there all day and logically walk a person like G-Man through the truth, and at the end of it, they will have no new understanding of what you've talked about, and you will have wasted your time. To be fair, the existence of a paradox doesn't disprove or prove anything. Well, that's true. That's not an ultimate proof, but when you're talking about philosophical discussions where nothing can be proved, the idea of a god can never be disproven or proven, because nobody has the ability to look under every rock in the universe, look in every corner of the universe, travel to other dimensions that we may not understand, and prove that this being doesn't exist. So what we have to do is make logical deductions. We've got to. So that's what the paradoxes are useful for. Argumentation, not proof. There is no proving or disproving God, but there are ways of logically looking at what his existence is purported to be and seeing if it fits what we understand about how the world works. Can Thanos convince G-Man he was chosen to disappear? I think Thanos could just snap his fingers and make G-Man believe whatever he wants. Do you believe that anything can be proven? Anything, like ultimate proof? I don't know, man. That's a tough question. I mean, I think math is a good method for testing the truth of things, but when it comes to ultimate proof of any concept, no. Yep. I mean, we can look at the data as we can perceive it. We can collect what we can collect. We can run it through whatever methods that we have it run through, and we can come up with an approximation of truth. But as far as like some unfallible truth, some unfallible proof for something existing, I don't believe that that exists. I think we're too limited to have that. It doesn't mean that we just throw our hands up in the air and don't believe anything and don't follow any principles. It just means that the idea that there's some ultimate truth that we've got our hands on is a fundamentally religious idea that I reject. I don't think the Infinity Gauntlet has control over free will. I don't know. My understanding of the Infinity Gauntlet was that it made the wielder, as long as the wielder had all of the gems, it made the wielder indistinguishable from a god. What I understand a god to be means that God can snap his fingers and make anything happen. The Mind Stone, indeed. There's always your mind. You know that exists. No, you don't. Simulation theory, baby. Your mind might just be some zeros and ones in a program. You don't know. You don't know if you exist. You might be a fucking crazy person locked in a dingy room right now. Like, I've had that discussion with people about this, me doing these shows. Like, what I experience as reality might just be a never-ending, strong delusion. I might be sitting in some cold concrete room somewhere with a feeding tube hooked into my stomach, just ranting and raving at nothing right now. Thanos had problems deflecting Thor's axe, so he wasn't omnipotent. Had problems deflecting Thor's axe. Oh, man. Okay. I don't think he had any problem at all. I think he deflected Thor's axe and then won, but say what you want, I guess. Paul, how diverse do you think life could possibly be? And do you think the definition of life should be more expansive or restrained? I don't know. That's a question that I don't have a good answer for. I mean, we know what life is here on this planet, but the idea that we've got an idea of what life is elsewhere is just based on a lot of assumption. You could be one point in time with memories implanted onto it. You could be like, we don't understand the nature of reality yet. We understand the rules of our current situation. We've come to understand how certain forces in nature work, and we've come to harness those. But this idea that we know the meaning of everything, that we know the ultimate goal, if there is one, that we know the origins and the end, it's a human hubris thing. We want to know. We want to feel like, because we look around and we see all these buildings and cars and how we've had mastery over our environment and how we've created all these new things that would be virtually indistinguishable from magic to somebody 100 years ago. We like to think we know it all. We like to think that we figured it all out. But we don't. We don't, and we haven't. Have you ever had to deal with the fact of having a parent or close relative be shamefully stupid but book smart? You see that kind of thing all the time. Intelligent people that really got no excuse to believe something stupid, but they've got this little lockbox in their brain where their rationality and their deductive reasoning don't go. They don't allow it to go. My dad is an example of that. He's a really, really smart dude, really well-spoken, politically savvy guy. Can have a conversation with you about pretty much anything in the world, but he believes in God. He believes that, abortion is the murder of a little soul and all this other bullshit that comes with being a Christian. And he just stacks that in one part of his brain where he doesn't let his deductive reasoning go, and he applies his deductive reasoning to everything that isn't religious or spiritual. That kind of person is he really that smart then? I mean, I think he's an incredibly intelligent guy. I don't think that just being a religious person precludes you from being intelligent. Everybody's got a little lockbox in their head where some irrational belief lives. So, I felt for Thanos, which means he was an excellent villain. Exactly. Anytime you can empathize with a villain, anytime a villain's not just in a total black-hearted, snidely whiplash, mustache twirling, tie a girl to the railroad tracks villain, you're gonna start to empathize with their position in some way. You're gonna start to feel bad for them in some way. You're gonna start to see the human element of them. It's hard to admit your irrational beliefs. It is. It is. That is true. Admitting them makes them real and opens them up to critique from other people. You feel bad for the Joker? Sure. Don't you? What's the best argument you've ever heard that you didn't agree with eventually? I don't know. I'd have to go flip through my fucking brain. I don't have instant access to an answer to that. Intelligence not generally applicable. It manifests in specific areas. Okay. You also have people who seem to know the BS they espouse so well that they contrive great arguments. Yeah, of course. I mean, people get very good at hiding the irrationality of their beliefs behind logical argument, finding little loopholes to make their what they ultimately know are irrational ideas that take the form of a logically consistent idea. I mean, people are very adept at this, and you can see why. Because it's easier to try and come up with a bunch of logical hurdles that people have to jump over that end up with you being right than to admit that you have no proof for this illogical belief, that it more than likely isn't true, and that it's just something that brings you comfort. That's the realization that's the hardest, is that you're wrong. Being wrong in this society is almost the worst thing that you can do. When somebody espouses something that is later defeated by a greater argument, we no longer look at it like, wow, humanity's knowledge has been served in this conversation, at least when it comes to the people that read it. We saw a bad argument defeated by a good argument. What it's really about is that person that made the bad argument being vilified now. If you make a bad argument, you're officially done. Even if you admit that you were wrong, you're done. So being correct is the most important thing in this society. Making an argument that you feel is rock solid, that everybody else puts a thumbs up on, is the most important thing, not the truth, or not approximating the truth to the best of your ability. Not searching through your bad feelings and bad beliefs and throwing away the ones that are logically inconsistent, but finding a way to argumentatively be right about them. That's more important than the truth. Yep. Do you have any fears or phobias? The only one that I think really, really constitutes a phobia is I'm afraid of heights. I'm not as afraid of heights as some people. I can fly in a car. I can tempt my fear of heights by going on a big, tall roller coaster or something. But I get in places that are very, very high without restricted access to the fall. I get very, very dizzy. I start to feel panicky. I have to look away from the drop. So fly in a car. Did I say fly in a car? Fly in a plane. We can freely move in space, but do you think in other forms of reality we can travel through space and time? I mean, it depends. Like if there are extra dimensional beings, people like beings that exist in the fourth dimension, the dimension above the dimension that we're locked into, then those people would have access to the entire timeline. Time is a single point. Time in the third dimension is a line between 2 points. It starts here and it ends here, and it moves linearly forward. But in the dimension above third, time is condensed to a single point. So you can you'd have access to the entire time stream. So moving through time would be something that would happen all the time and constantly. Paul, I'd love to have a debate with you about religion. Things have happened in my life to where I simply cannot disregard that there's a higher power. I mean, it's called personal experience, and it's not an argument. I can tell you how our argument would go from the get-go. You would say, I had this happen in my life, and I would be like, can you replicate it? And you'd be like, no, it was a miracle. It happened in my life, but it was totally, it happened. And I'll be like, can you replicate it? And you'd be like, no, but I guarantee you it happened. And I'll be like, can you replicate it? You'd be like, no, I can't show you that it happened, but I had a personal experience, man. And I'll say, yeah, that's great, but can you replicate it for me and prove to me that it exists? Well, no, because it's a personal experience, man. Well, can you replicate it, though? No, I can't. Then it didn't happen. Sorry. Or if it did happen, it was the result of a bunch of fucking happenstance. And you fucking interpreted it wrong. Until you can show me a miracle happening, I don't believe in miracles. Until you can show me God directly interceding in somebody's life or appearing to somebody or doing something that is not physically possible due to the laws of nature, you can't demonstrate it to me. You can have all the personal experience in the world. You can say, one day I was depressed and I went outside and it was raining and a sunbeam shot straight through the fucking clouds. The clouds broke up right over my head and the sunbeam hit me and I just felt instantly better. And I felt like it was God coming down and touching me to make me feel better, and you'll never take that away from me. And my answer to that is, I'm happy that happened for you. I'm happy you had a very meaningful experience, but unless you can replicate it, it was happenstance. The clouds open up over people all the time. Sunlight comes streaming through the clouds all the time. Just because it happened on you one time doesn't mean that it was a God that did it. And unless you can go out and be depressed and replicate it over and over again and show that God shines a beam of light on you every time your mind is, troubled, then you got nothing for me. Personal experience is a silly argument when it comes to something like God. I don't get people who can't watch fiction having something in it when they don't believe in it. I don't like this movie because it's about reincarnation. I don't believe in that, yeah. I mean, that kind of stuff is silly. Fantasy is fantasy, fiction is fiction, and reality is reality. I've had plenty of experiences I used to call signs from God, but as I got older, I realized they were just coincidence. That's really what's going on. People see these coincidences. They pray. They have a relative that's in a horrible car accident and in a coma, and they pray to God, hey, please save my relative. And that relative comes out of the coma, and they feel like God did it. But really what happened is that relative was treated by medical professionals, and their injury healed to the point where they could regain consciousness. God didn't reach his hand down because you prayed and fixed somebody's brain. Medicine did that. Medicine and chance. Personal experience is chock full of shit that could have happened anyway. Anything that guy that wanted to have a conversation with me said, not only directly personal experience, I don't necessarily like religion, but things happen over and over to where it doesn't seem like it can be a coincidence. But you got to understand, you're one person in a species of almost 8 billion. Everything that happens to a human being is going to happen multiple times. Even the weird stuff, even the outlier stuff is going to happen multiple times, even to one person. What I hate is when people try and tell you that the ways that some film contrivance doesn't make sense. So what? It's a movie. Suspend your fucking disbelief. Well, yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, film contrivances have to walk the line. They have to remain plausible in order for the human mind to not reject them. But if they're sneaking in a premise that doesn't have reality as a part of it, but it's a movie, then yeah. A movie's got to meet you halfway for the suspension of disbelief to happen. Otherwise, you're just left with something that's completely a mess that you have no connection to. But I agree. The inability to turn your brain off and go, there was a fucking unicorn in that movie, so it's stupid. That's just lame. Paul, if Kanye West and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Trump ran for president, what? Do you think it'll be a shit show? No. No, I think it would be great. I think it would hasten the decline of America and be a wonderful fucking show to watch. I would love to see fucking, Kanye West and Trump having a fucking presidential debate. It would be peak American. Peak America right there. Everybody loves a trash fire, dude. The last fucking election, the reason why it was such a fucking couldn't tear your eyes away from it, constant roller coaster of bullshit, is because it was chock full of that. It was chock full of shit that didn't mean anything but was fun to watch. Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump 2020. That's probably what we'll get. Oh, it was fun. It was great. Like during the election, I used to wake up and I couldn't wait to check my news feed and see what was going on, see what stupid shit Trump said, see how he dissed on somebody. But it's, Paul, you were arguing with a G-Man dummy account? Were you arguing with a G-Man dummy account? I don't know. I don't know, bro. What's that blue band around your vape? This is for when it falls over. It's like a little plastic thing that you stretch around the tank so that if it falls over or you drop it and it hits here, it doesn't shatter the glass of your tank. It just bounces off of this rubber thing. There were some good ass memos leading up to the last election. My girlfriend was an atheist, but she's 17 and has depression and her mind is unstable and now she's becoming religious and she doesn't want to argue about it. How can I stop it? You don't. You don't. This idea that you can reach into somebody's brain and make them think like you do is bullshit. You don't. Like, you can argue with her about it. You can provide what you feel is evidence to the contrary of her beliefs, but when it comes down to it, she's going to believe what she believes. And you can stay or go. Should I stay or should I go now? Should I stay or should I go now? If I go, there will be trouble. If I stay, there will be double. So come on and let me know. Should I stay or should I go? Oh, God. Sorry about the drool. Oh, that cough came from deep inside. Mm. Did you find that song from Stranger Things? No. I grew up listening to that song. I grew up in the time that Stranger Things was filmed in, so I was the age of the people in Stranger Things when Stranger Things takes place. You see? Do you see? Should I stay or should I go now? If I stay, there will be trouble. I don't remember a Viking on that show. Well, yeah, because none of the kids are old enough to grow a nice fatty boom batty Viking beard in that show yet. Dude, the chubby kid in that show definitely gonna have a beard when he grow up. Definitely. Poop! Oh, man. I'm timing you out just for the fact that you created a dude, like you created an account named Poop Poop. You put a poop emoji as your fucking thing, and then the first thing I see you say is poop. You gotta go. Think of a new account, bro. Come up with a new angle and get in with it. Paul, will you argue? No, I already read that one. This is the one I missed. My dad became born again after recovering from a rare autoimmune disorder that was misdiagnosed as terminal cancer. Super smart guy. Just has this weird area in his head where the stuff lives now. My dad is the same exact way. I like to think about my dad and think that he knows better, you know, deep down. That deep down he knows he's making a bad argument. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's the way I reconcile his obvious intelligence with having beliefs that are obviously unintelligent, anti-intellectual beliefs. But he's a very smart guy, a very persistent arguer. He'll be back. Don't worry, Christina. Poop guy will return. I was just punishing him for his lack of originality, but he'll be back. Don't worry. Oh, man. I just timed him out, guys. He'll be back. I was just punishing him for his unoriginality, but he'll be back. I know everybody loves Poop Poop. Trust me, Poop Poop hasn't gone anywhere. He'll return. The Poop guy's your Lord and Savior? Cool. Well, that's good to know, man. Poop, poop, poop. Yeah, he'll be back. I didn't ban him. I just timed him out, man. He's gone for 300 seconds. He'll be back with more poop for everybody. He's watching right now, chomping at the bit for his 300 seconds to be up. He'll be back. Don't worry. Poop, poop never leaves. He never dies. He just simply multiplies. All this poop talk made your bird poop. He's trained to poop on command. Poop, 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 poop again, bird. Polly want to poop? Does he keep shitting when I say it? Poop, poop. Wow, how am I any better than poop, poop now? Did you guys see my hypocrisy on display just now? I literally 5 or 10 minutes ago banned a dude because he came in here and did nothing but say poop over and over again. And now, 10 minutes later, I'm in my own chat doing the same thing. Give myself 300 seconds. I should. If there was a way for me to punish myself, I would do it in a heartbeat because it just seems like I deserve it at this point for sure. Yeah, poop poop won. That's the beautiful thing about trolls. And it's why I love you guys. Well, not all of you guys, but you trolls specifically. Because trolling, look at what he did, right? He had a stupid idea. Let's just walk through Poop Poop's day. He has a stupid idea. I'm going to make an account named Poop Poop. I'm going to put a poop emoji smiling as the thing. And then I'm going to come in, and I'm going to wait until a moment where Paul is definitely going to see me. And I'm going to say poop poop. Right? And I look at that and I go, man, this guy has fucking done nothing. He's done nothing. Banned. You see what I mean? But here we are, 15 minutes later, going poop, poop, poop. He infected us with one comment. With one comment, he changed our conversation from a broad discussion of transhumanism and future and technology and governance to talking about poop. And now we're having a poop discussion because he came in and did that one thing. The banning on my part was totally ineffectual. He wins. He wins. And he's a great troll because of it. Because he managed to do what every troll wants to do. Take a piece of content and make it about what I want it to be. See, there he is. He's back. Congrats, Poop Poop. You're a good troll. Poop Poop wins. Indeed. That's the beauty of trolling. It's social engineering on steroids. It's having a concept and bringing it to fruition and fucking with an entire group of people. It's awesome. It's awesome. That's why I love trolls. That's why, even though I spend a significant amount of my time here fighting against the trolls, inside of this chest beats the enlarged, fatty, deposited heart of a genuine troll. I love what trolls love. I love making people uncomfortable. I love taking people that are having a circle jerk and making them all fight each other. I love dropping a comment that changes the direction of a conversation. I love making people feel like their positions are wrong by constantly assaulting them with bad information. I love trolling. I love it. I love it. You don't need a big IQ to troll, dude. Trolling is not necessarily a big brain only enterprise, okay? Preferential shade of poop? The ones that are the easiest to take are those ones that are like light brown. You know what I mean? Not the dark brown ones, because those ones are hard and they kind of hurt your O-ring when they come out. Those are the sharp poops, the ones that are kind of darkish brown, your typical dark brown poop shade. But when you get that kind of light orange poop, the light orange poop, those come out kind of soft. They don't hurt your O-ring when they come out. They're easy to wipe up after because they're very solid but yet soft. And that's really what I like as far as poops. Can you handle a completely trolling, toxic chat? Look at this fucking... Look at this show. That's what this is. I mean, there are times where this chat becomes unwatchable, unlistenable, unreadable. And yet I stand, and yet I come back. I face the fire, because that's what you have to do. When did you become such a political, philosophical guy? Was there an obvious turning point, or have you always had a big brain? I don't think I've got that big of a brain. I'm not that smart of a dude. I don't know what my IQ is, but I don't think it's stunningly high or even high at all. As far as like, when did I become, like, I've always been a person that likes discussing crazy ideas with other people. I've always been a conversationalist as far back as I can remember, which, my first really clear, incontrovertible memories, at least in my mind, come around 6 or 7 years old, and they're very clear, but there are very few of them. And I remember very, very clearly having long conversations with drunk adults. That was my first kind of introduction to the type of conversations that I have now. My parents would have a bunch of friends over for a party. Everybody would get drunk. I would be kind of mingling with all these adults who, with their lowered inhibitions, would say things around me and to me that they probably wouldn't have involved me in normally. They would talk to me like I was an adult sometimes. I would start conversing with somebody, and they'd be just drunk enough to have a real, deep work conversation with me and tell me everything that was going on. I learned how adult life works at a very early age, or at least some of it, some aspects of it, at a very early age, just from conversing with people. And ever since then, I've been a guy who cannot stop moving his mouth. I can't stop talking to people. And I get introverted too. There are times where I don't feel like talking to anybody, but that really is my greatest joy in life, is conversing with people. It's the, the meaning of my life, I guess, is just a series of conversations. It's really what I value about my free time more than anything, is conversing with people. Whether it's you guys here through this, or on our Discord, or with TJ and Scotty coming up with a new idea for the show, or just having a conversation about something funny that happened. With Ashley, having a quiet conversation with her at night as we go to bed together. Those are the moments in my life that have meaning. There's a bug on the wall? Where? I'm legitimately not seeing a bug, guys. Was that a troll too? Oh, there he is. He's over there. Oh, it's a stink bug. I'm just gonna try and get him outside. I don't like killing these guys because, they don't do anything to me. Stink bug, come here. Oh, shit. He flew. All right, I'm not gonna hurt you, dude. I got a little plastic thing here. All right, gotcha. Come with me. All right, we're good. He flew away outside. So I don't like hurting a bug that doesn't do anything to me, like that isn't looking to infest my house. Like a cockroach, I'll kill a cockroach quick, but like a spider, I'm apt to just let a spider stay in because a spider would have taken care of that problem for me. Circle of life. Cockroacha. Do those bugs actually stink or do they just eat shit? No, they stink. They spray like a thing out of their butt as a defensive mechanism that smells really bad. It's meant to make predators go away. I'm not arachnophobic at all. I don't. The one spider that causes fear in me is a black widow spider, and it's because of just how shiny and black they are in the red splotch. I mean, it's very, very biologically effective warning sign that says stay away. And so a black widow spider really is a spooky spider to me. But I'm not arachnophobic, no. I had friends growing up that had a tarantula as a pet. I loved letting that tarantula crawl on me. I love spiders. Like when I see a little wood spider or a little house spider or whatever the fuck taking up root in my house, I never fuck with them. Eventually, they usually move on anyway, but sometimes they'll spin a web up in a corner. And if a fly gets into your house, there's a good chance he ends up in that web. A spider's not there to hurt you. They're not there to hurt you. They're not there to infest your house for the most part. When you get bit by a spider, it's because you reached somewhere where they were living and they had to defend themselves or whatever. So they're not really a scary animal to me. I mean, brown recluses can be a little scary because they're known to kind of crawl into people's shoes and shit. And if you get bit by a brown recluse, they're pretty common around here. The most dangerous spider around here that you're gonna see is a brown recluse. A little spooky, but I'm not real scared of them. I don't have a lot of fear of them. Yeah, there are big spiders out in the jungle and stuff, like big bird eating. Like there's a bird eating tarantula that is just like the size of a dinner plate, basically. And they climb up to the tops of trees and kind of lie in wait for birds to come and start building a nest. And when they do, they just leap on them. It's one of you can go find it. Go find bird-eating tarantula. I'm sure I've seen them on documentaries, so I'm sure somebody's clipped one and put a bunch of them up on YouTube. They're really interesting animals, man. They're not scary. I don't know. They're just not. The smaller ones like wood spiders and jumping spiders and stuff. They're actually really cool little animals to watch. We used to get a lot of wood spiders at my house in Madera. And they would, spin webs in my mom's garden a lot in between tomato plants and stuff. And I used to love watching them work, watching them spin their webs, watching them wrap up their prey and stuff. They're really interesting animals to me, not scary. I'm not real scared of snakes either, to be honest with you. I mean, once again, there are snakes. The snake that I grew up around that you had to fear in my area was, the diamondback rattlesnake. They exist in the Central Valley where I grew up, and they bite people, and it can be very dangerous to get bitten by one. But rattlesnakes are built in. They have a built-in warning mechanism. When one of them is nearby and thinking about striking you, it warns you with its rattle. So if you're just smart when you're walking in undergrowth and you listen for the telltale signs that there's a rattler nearby, the chances of you getting bitten by one are diminished greatly. There are also a lot of snakes that are killed by people. People will find them in their yards and they'll go chop their head off that are totally harmless to people. There's a beautiful snake called a California king snake.
Beautiful black and orange striped snake with white stripes. You've probably seen one. They're gorgeous snakes, and dumbass fucking people would kill them all the time because they found them out in their backyard and they think they're going to bite people. That snake could never hurt you. You could go pick up a king snake and it's not even going to try and defend itself against you. They're not that way. All they do is kill rats and shit and gophers and shit you don't want on your property, you know? It's like spiders. Having a spider around your house, that's not a bad thing. Having a snake on the property is not a bad thing. Garter snakes, yeah, oh my god, dude. They're cute too. Like, garter snakes are legitimately cute little animals. They're just tiny, wispy little things. People will find them out in their yard and chop their heads off with fucking shovels and shit. And it's like, why? What did you, like, I guess if you got a rattler that's taken up residence in your backyard, you might have to deal with it a little harshly because you can't have kids running around a backyard with a rattlesnake in it. But, like, know what you're killing. Know what's a verminous animal and what isn't. Because not all wildlife is bad around your house. There are some animals you want around your house. Here's someone getting playfully bit by a king snake. Looks cute. Yeah, king snakes are just totally harmless little animals. They're big, like they're large snakes. They can get pretty big, and that's people fear them because of that. But they're not after you. They're not after a human being. A snake never wants to bite a human being. They're not out. They don't go out today and like, oh man, I'm gonna kill somebody with my venom today. It's always a human being blundering into their fucking environment and kicking them or not being safe or not listening when they're walking through undergrowth in an area where diamondbacks are at. I've seen diamondback rattlers in the wild 4 or 5 times. I've never been bitten by one. Centipedes. Yeah, centipedes are cool animals too. I don't really have any fear of animals. I guess the animal that I fear most is like a great white shark. Because I do have a vast respect for open water. I love swimming in the ocean, and the place that I love swimming in the ocean most, like those of you that watch TJ's Highdeology where he showed me kind of walking around out in the ocean, that's a place where great white sharks have been sighted. So every time I walk out there, that's part of going out there. It's knowing that nature could take you. And I do fear sharks. Sharks to me are just teeth. You know what I mean? A wolf? No, I don't fear a wolf. Well, wolves are skittish around people. I mean, most sharks are too. But a great white is an aggressive animal, and it's large enough to eat you as prey. And so we're really a prey animal to them. When you talk about human beings having hegemony over the natural order of things, that's true until they're out in the water naked. When you're out in the water, when you walk out waist deep or higher in the ocean, you're no longer on human soil. You're in an alien world where you're not at the top of the food chain. A naked human being in the water is near the bottom of the goddamn food chain. And sharks will take you. So I fear sharks, but I face that fear by walking out into the ocean. And that really is, somebody asked me the other day, what kind of kooky, religious beliefs do you have, if any? And I didn't answer at the time because I really couldn't think of any, but my little ritual that I do in the ocean is a very religious thing. I mean, it's got the hallmarks of a religious ritual. And I've done it since I was a little kid. It started as a little ritual that my sister, my biological sister and I would do when our parents would take us down to the beach, which was, it started as just the tide rolling in and not wanting to get our feet wet. So we would walk out when the tide rolls back and the wet sand is visible. We would walk out there and we would yell at the ocean, yell insults almost, or dare the ocean to come get us. And then it would come running back in and we would try and run away. And sometimes it would catch us and sometimes we would get away. And it started like that as very young kids. I was 6 or 7. She was 4 or 5, that age. Ever since then, as an adult, I've had a desire to do that, but it got more and more adversarial as time went on. It's like I look at the ocean and I feel a combination of respect and disdain for it. And it's not disdain because it's ugly, it's disdain because I want to fight it. I want to go out there and have a fight with it. And so I walk out into the ocean, and part of that is accepting the fact that the ocean could take me. I could step on a rockfish out there, which are indicative of the Central California coast. You step on a rockfish, you could die. I could be bitten by a tiger shark or a great white shark out there and lose a limb, or be dragged underwater and drowned. I know that all of these things, while remote, are possibilities every time I walk out into the ocean, but I do it anyway, irrationally, because I feel better when I come out of it. I feel like I've accomplished something. And I see things when I'm out there that no other human being gets to see. So, yeah. My most memorable moment from the last time I did this was the day that I went walking out in the ocean on TJ's Highdeology. I actually did it twice. I did it at that time, and then later on that evening, we all went down and walked on the beach as the sun was going down, and I did it at sunset. And at sunset, the tide is coming in, so the tide is very, very different. It's harsher. It pulls harder as it goes back out because it's building up more energy to push out further and further up onto the beach. So the idea of a riptide becomes a very real thing. And I went chest deep out in the ocean, and the sun was setting, and I could see the breakers up close, the big giant waves that are driving this tidal force, or indicative of this tidal force hitting the ridge underneath the water. I could see those waves so completely and so perfectly. And I saw one of the coolest things I've ever seen out there. I saw a pelican, and you have to understand the breakers were breaking right at the point where the sun was hitting the horizon. So it was this beautiful orange red and this deep green, blue, black wave. And then I saw a pelican skimming the top of the wave with his beak open, just catching fish and little, shrimp and shit that are being pushed up from the ocean floor by this tidal force. And I watched it just skim this wave, moving perfectly, gliding along with the wave at a perpendicular angle to it and just scooping things out of it. And that was something that if I was standing on the shore, I wouldn't have been able to see. But I saw that happen, and it was just so, my heart just was filled with like vitality at that moment. But as I was watching that, a fucking shark could have come and taken my leg off at the knee, and I could have bled out there. So I have those types of moments, and that's a very ritualistic thing, which I guess approximates religion in me. It's not a smart thing, certainly, to do what I'm doing. A hornet's nest is not a scary thing. I've dealt with hornets my whole life. Now, it's not something that you want to have around somewhere where you're going to be outside a lot, because hornets are not a malicious animal, but they are a very, very aggressive species. And if they feel that you're too close to their hive, even if you don't know it's there, they're just going to sting you. So you have to take care of a wasp nest that's near a place where you're going to sting. And you know what you need to defeat a wasp nest? This is how scary wasps are. You ready? Here's how you defeat a wasp nest. You get a fucking hose, and you put one of those nozzles on it that builds up a bunch of pressure and lets you spray. And you stand far back, and you put on, gloves and shit so that you don't have a bunch of exposed skin. And you spray that hose at the wasp nest until it breaks up into chunks. And all the wasps around there go crazy, but they're dumb animals. They don't know how to find you. So you just and then when it's gone, you go back inside, you let the wasps disperse, and then you got no wasp problem. There you go. You've taken care of it. You got to do that. Yeah, wasps will just sting the shit out of you for no reason. You can kill wasp nests with a yeah, that's true too. You can just get a garbage bag. I mean, if it's somewhere where you can easily reach and the wasps aren't swarming around it, you just get a garbage bag and grab it and pull it down there and tie it off and throw it in the garbage. Get a can of, yeah, you can burn them out too. I've seen people do that. What about gorillas? I don't got to worry about gorillas, homie. Got no gorillas near where I grew up. But they are a pretty spooky animal. Like, I'd be genuinely scared to be around a troop of gorillas because they could just rip you limb from limb and might do it due to a misunderstanding of your intentions at any moment. That's a spooky animal. That's a spooky animal to encounter out in the wild, You're most scared of other humans. Well, you have way more of an impetus to be scared of humans than you do most wild animals. You're far, far, far vastly more likely to be killed by another human being than you are a grizzly bear or a spider or a snake of any stripe. So, your fear is definitely placed correctly. Human beings are the most fearful animal on this planet. On land. In the water, we ain't shit. But on land, we are the most fearsome of animals. You can overpower a chimp, not a gorilla. You want to go wrestle a chimp and prove that for us? Because as far as I understand, the average chimp is twice as strong as the average man. So I don't think you're going to wrestle a chimp, homie. A chimp might look like something that you could go win a wrestling match against, but from what I understand, chimps are fucking crazy strong and fearsome and violent. Chimps love to dislocate people's limbs and shit. Yeah. I mean, we covered that on this Highdeology one time. That woman that got just literally, she had a pet chimp that I guess had depression, and she was medicating it herself with a bunch of Xanax. And one day it flipped out and just destroyed one of her friends. And when I say destroyed, I mean it literally destroyed her. It ripped her face off, it ripped her tongue out, ripped her tits off, dislocated a bunch of her arms and shit, bashed her head in. It fucked her up. Define utopian and dystopian. A utopia, as I understand it, is a futuristic vision of human society that incorporates the ideas of harmony, tranquility, peace, freedom, and creativity. A utopia is a place where war is not necessary, where arguments are settled peacefully, where people are free to pursue their dreams in a system that supports them in that, where knowledge and wisdom and learning are prioritized over everything, where human beings are treated as they wanted to be treated, and outliers and criminals are treated humanely with an eye towards rehabilitation. That to me is a utopia. A dystopia is the opposite of that. It's a far-flung future version of what we think society might be that is typified by usually an increase in the negatives that we see in popular society, in present society. So we see corporations having ever more control. So a dystopian view of the future would be a future that's run by corporations, where you can't escape them, where they have windows into your life, and you're treated as a number and as a consumer and not as a human being. So that's how I understand the difference. A dystopia is the place. Well, sure, for a person that lives 100 years ago, this might be a dystopia. I don't think anybody 100 years ago was positing any of the things going on. But if you went back in time and grabbed somebody from 100 years ago and showed them how we're living now, they might look at it and think, wow, what a fucking nightmare. This idea that people from the past would be like blown away by what we've got. I don't know, man. They might just be afraid of it. Dystopias are a result of a flawed utopia. Maybe utopia comes from half-assing a dystopia. No, dystopia comes from half-assing a utopia. That's the idea. They may like the food surplus of modern America, but that's about it. Yeah, that's probably true. This is nowhere near a dystopia. I mean, for some people, I can see the argument. For some people, this could be a dystopia. I mean, for people living in primitive ways, you go to like a tribal society and bring them into this and give them an office job, they probably want to kill themselves. So the dystopia is in the eye of the beholder. We have the benefit of living at this time and going, nah, man. This ain't no dystopia, but it depends on the perspective of the person looking at our society, what they're coming from, and what they value. Why would any person in a dystopia admit they were living in one? I mean, some people in dystopian fiction know they're living in one and admit it and fight against it. Where is you? I'm hiding in the darkness, dude. Hiding in the darkness, away from the prying eyes of the civilization that I live in. I'm undercover. I'm no longer Paul's ego now. I'm Paul X. I'm anonymous. You don't know who and what I am now. Yeah, I'm off that grid, dude. All right, I'm gonna end this now. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. See